And it's just me tonight because Logan is packing for a trip to Pittsburgh tomorrow for a bachelor party. Always something, right? So it's just going to be me. But a couple things I want to share with you guys. So announcements first. So if you did not already see my email, if you haven't seen the post, if you haven't seen First Form's email, Formula One Clear Watermelon is live now. I do know that this will be a flavor that is here to stay, which is exciting, but anytime we launch new flavors, we almost always go out of stock of them within at least a week or so. I know it's been flying off the shelves already. I asked for like the report today and I was like, oh my goodness, people really wanted this flavor. But for those of you guys that didn't see my post today, it truly tastes like a watermelon Jolly Rancher. I think of it like a Kool-Aid dupe that's really great. And it's like an adult version of Kool-Aid, but very healthy. So the watermelon is very refreshing. I have yet to mix it with like the lemonade or the strawberry, which I'm going to do tomorrow. But just so you guys know that that new flavor is available, and it's going to be really exciting for y'all to get your hands on it because I know many of you like Formula One Clear. I love Formula One Clear, so I was very excited that there was a new flavor. So there's that. Second thing is, so for those of you guys that have never had Magical Charms before, so Magical Charms is a Formula One flavor we release every day, every year around St. Patrick's Day. It's one of our seasonal flavors. And this is, think Lucky Charms. So Magical Charms, Lucky Charms, like the milk you used to drink from the Lucky Charms cereal, that is what this protein tastes like. And I know some people are like, ooh, is it bad? No, it's very good. It almost tastes like the marshmallows also that you used to get in the Lucky Charms box, which we all know was the absolute most elite best part, right? So for those of you guys that have had Formula One, the Lucky Charms or the Magical Charms, what we call it, please say something about it in the comments too if you have anything else to add because I think it's a really great flavor, and it's a great way to spice up your cereal in the morning or your oatmeal or whatever post workout. It's usually just a fun flavor to have in circulation. That will be launching next Wednesday, but I know a couple of you guys are like, oh well, maybe I'll just put an order in for the Formula One Clear and the Formula One Magical Charms. I'm going to encourage you to get the Formula One Clear before that because by this time next week, it probably will be sold out in this flavor specifically. So I wouldn't necessarily like wait to do a bulk order. I would just do like, two separate orders if that's what you guys are wanting to do. So wanted to mention that. So that's the second thing. And then third thing is we're back to regular scheduled programming this week with assessments. So they are open today. I do have a handful of them to get back to, which I'm planning on doing a few tonight, and then I have my day tomorrow built out. But we will get those back to you guys, of course, by this weekend. But just so you know that this is like our normal week back, right? First week of March, normal week back. So please get those assessments in ASAP, and we will go over them. So if there's no questions about that or comments about the Formula One Magical Charms, which I'm surprised none of you guys on here have had it. It's a really, really, really popular flavor this time of year. So it'll be exciting for some of you guys to try it. So with that being said, I want to jump into our call tonight. And I'm taking it back to a kind of a couple weeks ago when I talked about some of the things I'm learning within functional med. This call is going to be about that too, which I'm very excited later this week. Hopefully by Friday, you guys will see my first newsletter coming out, which is a ton of information about the functional med stuff that I'm learning and just hopefully piecing it together in a way that's really understandable for you guys. I named it the Invictus Insider, which I'm super excited about. And it's going to talk a little bit about the topic that we're discussing tonight, but more so like gut health on a 30,000-foot view. So you'll get a little taste of that tonight, but that newsletter is going to be a bigger expansion. And so I think I have all your guys' emails on it right now, but make sure if you would like it, you let me know and I'll add you to the list. So tonight we are talking about stress and specifically the effect that stress has on the digestive system. I think that it's normal for us all to think that we need to work all the time, we need to be busy all the time, we need to always have something on our plate. And naturally, that's going to lead to an increase in cortisol and a not so good increase in cortisol, right? And I want to share with you on my list here, I have 6 different things that stress will do to the body as it pertains to a digestive standpoint. So when we look at diseases, when we look at autoimmune conditions, when we look at cancers, when we look at anything like that, nearly every single one of those conditions, we can bring it back to the gut and the health of the gut. So you guys are going to hear me talk a lot more about this in your assessments as of like most recent, lately, and in the future, because of how much I'm learning about this and how much I realize I didn't know about it. But simultaneously, we're also going to look at how almost every single body system is intertwined with our digestive system, but then truly what factors environmentally, physically, emotionally, mentally cause and wreak havoc on our gut. So, the first thing that we need to establish in this gut connection with stress is the gut brain connection. So, if you've never heard before, the gut actually has its own nervous system. It's called the enteric nervous system, which is different than our brain, right? Our central nervous system, that's the brain and spinal cord. So, the first thing we need to realize is if the gut has its own nervous system, that is the second brain. So the gut brain are closely associated via that gut brain axis, aka those two nervous systems talking together. So signals from the brain can directly affect the gut and vice versa. Just like a couple weeks ago, we talked about what is the first part of digestion? It's thinking about food, right? That's called a cephalic reflex. You don't need to know that, but I'm a nerd and it's a fancy term. So the cephalic reflex is the first part of digestion when we start to think about digesting food. But again, this connection is a two-way street, and stress elevates our sympathetic nervous system. This is a fight or flight, right? I'm running from the bear, right? When you're running from the bear, you're not focused on digestion. You're not focusing on resting and digesting, right? So if we are in a chronic state of stress, which most of us are with life, with work, with family, whatever it may be, that's going to elevate the sympathetic nervous system, causing various changes in the gut health. So, first, we've got that brain connection where they synonymously talk to each other. But then we've got what effect is stress causing on digestion? And that's the second part. When you're stressed, the body prioritizes functions like increasing your heart rate, blood flow to muscles, and as a result, the blood flow to your digestive system is reduced. Again, when we're running from the bear, we're not focused on digesting our food, right? So if the blood flow is reduced, this can lead to slower or impaired digestion. And it can manifest a whole bunch of different ways in people, such as bloating, constipation, diarrhea, and a slew of other digestive problems, and like nausea, vomiting, different things like that. So stress over time can either make gut motility or movement slow down in people or increase in people. So when we have a change in our own digestion, we have to ask ourselves, are we changing anything with regards to our stress in our life? Is that any different? That's the first question we want to ask ourselves. Oh, yeah, I had a big presentation at work, or my toddler was up all night with a fever, whatever it may be. Ask yourself that first because that could cue us into that, right? So, with all those changes with disruption of digestion, our third point is that's going to alter our gut microbiome, right? So, our gut microbiome is the collection of bacteria in our gut. We all have bacteria in us and we all need bacteria in us, right? Which is why we talk about things like probiotics. Probiotics are bacteria, the good food for our gut. Probiotics feed prebiotics that are in our gut. And so, with this being said, a balanced microbiome is optimal for digestion, immune support, mood regulation, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and making sure you're actually absorbing your food, right? If we increase gut motility and we shuttle things through the digestive system too fast, there's no way we're absorbing all of its nutrients, right? But if we also leave stuff in the body too long, thinking about the side of constipation, we're also not absorbing all those nutrients that we need to because we're just focused on packing bulk to that stool. The stool gets so big and it gets so aggravated that the body recognizes it as a foreign invader and doesn't absorb the things that it needs to. So neither diarrhea nor constipation are good for us, right? But stress can manifest in different people's bodies in different ways and present with one or the other. And so stress has been shown to increase the amount of harmful bacteria. I want you to think about pathogens, right? Things that make us sick in the gut when reducing the beneficial bacteria to help maintain a gut microbiome. So stress gets rid of the good stuff and increases the bad stuff. Makes sense, right? This can trigger inflammation. This can trigger a weakened immune system, right? If we have more foreign pathogens, if we have more invaders, why would our immune system be as strong? It won't, right? Because the entire gut's goal is to fight off those things. And if we're so stressed, it can't do that. Then, what this stress does, our fourth point, is this can lead to increased gut permeability, which is a fancy way of saying leaky gut. Have you heard of leaky gut before? Give me a yes, no in the comments if you've ever heard of leaky gut. Oh, Abby says no. Okay, I'm excited. Allison says yes. Heather says yes. Okay, so we got some no's and we got some yeses. I like this. So it has become increasingly popular. So can somebody tell me who said yes, what is leaky gut? Let's talk about that first. What is leaky gut? And y'all can unmute and share it quick too. There's no wrong answers here. What is leaky gut?
Look, I did thumbs up because I heard of it. You didn't ask if I knew what it was. I just
Hey,
know it's
that's okay.
bad.
I appreciate the thumbs up and the honesty, Allison. So if you guys have heard of it, do any of you know what it is? It's okay if you don't. Nobody knows. That's okay. Okay, so we've heard of it, but we don't know what it is. Great. This is a good talking point for us. So stress, right? When we are altering our gut microbiome, bad stuff is higher, good stuff is lower. What gut permeability or leaky gut is it is actually allowing the bad stuff or the not great stuff to get through the gut into the bloodstream that we don't want it to be there. So essentially, this means the lining of the intestines becomes more porous, so allowing toxins, bacteria, undigested food particles to get into that bloodstream. And what happens is the body recognizes that as pathogens, it recognizes it as foreign invaders. And this can lead to conditions like IBS, food sensitivities, autoimmune conditions, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, like tons of different things by increasing this permeability. So essentially, if you think of the gut lining like this, they're called little villi. So all around your small intestine and your large intestine, but mostly your small intestine, you have these villi. They're like finger-like projections. They should be tight to each other like this. We want them tight so that big things can't get through them. But what happens is what stress does is it weakens the villi's ability to stay tight and it increases these what are called gap junctions. And when we increase these gap junctions, what happens is pathogens, foreign invaders, undigested food goes through them and enters the bloodstream. Well, the bloodstream can't use undigested food. It needs to use digestive food. The bloodstream can get overloaded with pathogens. It can get overloaded with toxins. And that's exactly what happens. So we're leaking things out of our gut that our gut is supposed to keep in. These villi are there for a reason to keep stuff shut. They're not supposed to let things through that they're not supposed to let through. But chronic stress and inflammation and consistently living in this fight or flight stage starts to let stuff go through. So when you see people with autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's, psoriasis, things like that, it's because things are getting through the gut that shouldn't be getting through the gut. And we have to take that back to stress. Is that person stressed? Metabolically, meaning through diet, physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever it may be, this stuff really makes a difference. So it's not just that I'll talk to you, Allison, in just a second, how we fix it. Don't worry, I'm getting there. So I want to set the stage first. But with that, it's a large problem because then we're wreaking havoc with inflammation. We're further increasing our cortisol because our body's mad that we're letting that stuff through. And ultimately, that's going to lead us to being sicker. That's going to lead us to more of these conditions, right? So, when we're letting more of those things through and we're not fully digesting our food, we're also getting rid of digestive enzymes. Do you remember what foods contain digestive enzymes? I want to see if we remember this from OptiGreens. Do you remember what foods contain digestive enzymes? Do you remember? It's okay if we don't. I got to do a better job of educating y'all. Do you remember what foods or not really? Ooh, okay. So fermented foods are going to be probiotics, Heather. That's probably what you're thinking about. So yes, Crystal, sauerkraut, but that's more probiotics. So fermented foods are going to be probiotics. I'm glad we remembered that one. Digestive enzymes are tropical fruits, papayas, mangoes, pineapples, different things like that. Which is why we talk about the importance of optigreens and optigreens having digestive enzymes because most of us aren't eating tropical fruit all the time. It's great in the summer, but most of you guys who are in the Midwest, you don't get tropical fruits in December, right? Your grocery store doesn't have pineapple. You don't have papayas, mangoes, things like that. So probiotics come from fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, all those different things. Whereas Greek yogurt, whereas digestive enzymes come from our tropical fruits. So when we're allowing stuff to go through, that's not supposed to go through. And yeah, Allison, go get your greens. I love it. And on top of it, we're losing digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes' job, so those tropical fruits, if you will, the enzyme breaks down the food. And so we're allowing a whole bunch of stuff through we shouldn't be. And then at the same time, we can't digest it. Our body is nutritionally starving. We are not giving ourselves what we need on a daily basis. Therefore, we are, again, depleting ourselves of vitamins, minerals, nutritional deficiencies, all of the things. And when we decrease the enzymes, when we let stuff through we're not supposed to, we also decrease the immune function of the gut. So 70% of our immune system is located in our gut. That's why we feel so crappy when we get the stomach flu, because it's like all of our good stuff is just completely wiped out of our body. Right. But that's also why we don't necessarily really have an appetite anytime we're sick, is because the body in the gut is focused on killing off so much of that stuff. No, yes, the other 30% is in your nose, your mouth, your airway, things like that, but 70% of your immune system is in your gut. And stress can, of course, impair that. This results in lower immunity, leaving you more susceptible to infections, viruses, illnesses, etc. So when I see patients or when I see clients who are sick very frequently, I know the number one thing we need to focus on is gut health. And sometimes it's not just like, supplementation that's enough. We need to drastically change the foods that we're eating. We need to reduce gluten, we need to reduce dairy, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a person by person conversation, of course, right? But how we fix this, right? Because that's the most important thing, is if our immune system's trash, our gut permeability is trash, we're inflamed, we can't lose weight because we have so much stress and we have so much inflammation, our digestion's crap, our mood is terrible because 70% of the immune system's there, 90% of your serotonin is in your gut, your feel good hormone. That's why people, and I'm gonna take a short side tangent, with IBS, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, whatever, that's why most of those people also struggle with anxiety and depression because they cannot absorb the minerals they need, the nutrients they need, things like vitamin D, for example. They cannot absorb those things, therefore leading to mood alteration, which is why we see Crohn's, IBS, whatever dietary condition like that. Those people are usually on SSRIs or different, depression, anxiety medication. We just see that connection. So if we don't feel good, our immune system's crap, all this, we got leaky gut, we got inflammation, blah, blah, blah. We have to figure out how to fix that, right? So our first things are going to be being very intentional and mindful about the foods we're consuming. And I've already hinted that a little bit. Working in probiotics are everything. And if you're not going to be one who's going to eat out of a jar of sauerkraut, AKA me, things like kombucha are fantastic. A kombucha, every other day is going to be great for your probiotics. Greek yogurt is awesome as well. And honestly, plain whole fat Greek yogurt is going to be great. Because when you get into the super flavored, super overpowered ones that are like fat free, it's kind of removing a lot of those probiotics. So fermented foods are fantastic. Now that the weather's coming back around, digestive enzymes are huge. So get out your papayas, your mangoes, your pineapples. And something I want to mention about this too, y'all, is it doesn't have to be fresh to be beneficial. So you can get frozen pineapple, you can get frozen mango, you can get frozen, papaya, whatever it is. In the freezer right now, I have mango and pineapple, and that's been the two fruits I mix with my Greek yogurt, my level one, and my milk in the morning for my smoothie. So, is it, of course, optimal to get fresh? Yes, but it's not like we're not all of a sudden the digestive enzymes just die when that food's frozen, right? That doesn't happen. So, that's a really great idea as well. So, focus on more tropical fruits, focus on more fermented foods. Again, my main sources are Greek yogurt as well as kombucha. Try to work in those fruits, 1 to 2 times a day if you can. But then let's think about the supplement that can support all of that. It's Opti Greens, right? Opti Greens should be something that every single person is taking because no matter if you have a strength goal, a weight loss goal, a physique composition goal, Opti Greens can help. Do you guys know what the 50 stands for in Opti Greens 50? I'm just curious if any of you guys have recently read the bag, what the 50 stands for. Yeah, 50 organic ingredients. So when you look on the back there, you can see literally all 50 of them listed out. And the serving size is 2 scoops, right? We should all be taking 2 scoops of that because that fulfills the daily need for probiotics. That fulfills the daily need for digestive enzymes. Not to mention the awesome blood sugar balance blend, the antioxidants, the fruits and veggies you're getting from it, right? It's amazing. Now, of course, nothing's going to replace whole foods, so we should eat probiotics and digestive enzymes in addition with that. But that's going to be really huge is OptiGreens. So there's our whole food solution. There's our supplemental solution. Because I don't know about you guys, but I do not get 5 to 7 servings of fruits and 5 to 7 servings of veggies a day. I try, but I don't get there. I simply don't. And so having that as a fail safe that OptiGreens is massive. So that's going to be the first thing. Second thing is focusing on microfactor as well. Many of you already take microfactor, but microfactor is the married perfect couple to OptiGreens because microfactor goes a little bit farther and also has digestive enzymes, also has probiotics. Yes, it's got fruits and veggies, but the big difference between the microfactor as well as the OptiGreens is it's going to bring in fish oil. And we all know and we've heard that fish oil is anti-inflammatory, right? That's huge for us. We're trying to lower our inflammation. If the body's already letting digested food through that's causing inflammation, we have to systemically calm it down. Microfactor can help with that. Yes, full mega as well. Like a full mega is our fish oil, top tier, absolutely amazing. But something's better than nothing, and microfactor is fantastic for that. Plus, then you're getting your A, B, E, D, K, B12, all these other vitamins that your body is letting through food. But when it gets it on that microscopic level, the powder or pill form level, it ends up absorbing it just a little bit better. So the whole food solution to microfactor is lots of fruits, lots of veggies. Again, that can be very hard for a majority of us. So taking those two together are going to be huge. That can reduce our oxidative stress. And oxidation is essentially electrons floating around the body that don't have pairs. When they don't have pairs, they just bounce around in all these tissues and they wreak havoc on the whole system. So OptiGreens Microfactor are the most ultimate best pair you could possibly have, knowing that we don't get the 5 to 7 servings of fruits, we don't get 5 to 7 servings of veggies, but we don't get 2 to 3 servings of probiotics or digestive enzymes on a daily basis. And the last one and final one is we have to manage our stress through natural clearing processes, which the number one for us as humans is sleep. So if we are not getting restful and restorative sleep, everything else is going to be a challenge, right? And sometimes we need a little bit of help to sleep, and that's not a bad thing. So utilizing things like magnesium, right? I just make a cocktail at the end of the day. It's greens, microfactor, magnesium, blend it up all down the hatch, and we're good to go. But also, this is a great time for us to look at Core 21. Now, remember, Core 21, the core in Core 21 stands for cortisol and helping clear out cortisol, which is our stress hormone, promoting deeper sleep, more restful sleep, restorative sleep, really trying to bring down that body's inflammation. So, with those things being said, we need to support our gut from an internal standpoint. whole food supplementation like we just talked about, but then external standpoint with our environment as well. Having a bedtime routine, setting a bedtime, no screens before bedtime. Try reading a book, winding down, listen to a guided meditation. Is the room dark? Is there any light coming in? Do you sleep with white noise? All of those things, right? And making sure we rest and we recover is massive. So, I wanted to share those things with you guys because in the Facebook group this week, we're talking about stress management. And I'm going to give you great ways for stress management, right? I put 5 awesome ones in there today. But when we look at the grand scheme of things, sometimes this education can be like way too much for the Facebook group specifically, which is why I'm sharing it here, that everything comes back to stress and everything comes back to the gut. And just like I started this call, nearly every cancer diagnosis, autoimmune diagnosis, like digestion disturbance, whatever it may be, we can bring it back to the gut. We almost always can find something in the stomach, small intestine, or the liver. And I'm doing a liver intensive this week, and I'll share more about it when I feel like super confident with the information. But I just wanted to share this all with you guys that I'm not saying this to scare you by any means, but I'm saying, like, hey, if you're stressed out, if you're stressed out in life, I expect these things to be affected. And something that we can also all focus on is prevention, on getting on top of these, making sure we're sleeping, making sure we're not sacrificing on our diet, on our supplementation, just because we don't feel like it, right? Again, just like I said in the announcements the other day, focus on the plan, not how you feel. And that includes making sure those daily supplements are an absolute non-negotiable. So I hope you guys took something away from that. I hope you found it interesting, at least. I was very naive to all the things that stress could do. And I'm talking to you guys in my training, this is like this big of a part of stress, right? It's also hormone imbalance. It's perimenopause, postmenopause. It's testosterone depletion in men. Like it's so big and it's so wide. But I felt like we really need to understand the impact on stress and what it physically does to our digestive system. So when we feel those symptoms, bloating, cramping, nausea, like indigestion, diarrhea, constipation, whatever it may be, we immediately start to look at how stressed have I been? What is stress doing to my body right now? So let's open it up to questions. You guys got any questions for me? I know there was a lot of information, but I appreciate y'all sticking with me. Yay, Heather. I'm glad you thought it was informative. Thank you. I've shared this before, y'all, but I'm a nerd about this stuff, so I'm gonna wig out about it. But I'm not gonna gatekeep it. I'm gonna share it. Any questions you guys have? Yeah, good. Always focus on the gut. Focus on the gut. Focus on the gut. Focus on the gut. Yes, I've been stressed lately too, y'all. So we're all figuring it out together. We got it. Well, good. One thing I would love this week is just because you guys know I'm all about feedback. When you're messaging me your assessment, or if you've already sent in your assessment, please send me a message. Like, again, we always try to do this by Sunday. Something you took away from this, something that was pertinent to you. Maybe it's something you want more information on. Maybe it's the reminder of, like, you know what? I've been slacking on my 2 scoops of OptiGreens every night. I haven't been doing it or whatever. I hope you take something away from this because we are so fortunate and we are so lucky that we have solutions to these major problems. And I'll put it in perspective for you. I'm looking at my functional nutrition board, which is now composed of like 8,000 of us practitioners, which is super cool. But so many of them are like, can't find a supplement that does all these things, cannot find like help or relief for this client. And I'm like, man, we are so lucky that we have OptiGreens and Microfactor. And I'm eternally grateful that First Form has spent thousands, if not hundreds, probably hundreds of thousands to make sure that we get everything we need in like these specific supplements. Otherwise, think about how much it would actually cost to go to Amazon and order every single one of those individual bottles. Sounds super overwhelming and something that's not going to be consistent for me to stick to. So again, I just want to share that with you guys because I felt like it was a really good way to tie in the Facebook group this week, but also a lot of what we've all been experiencing lately. So that's what I got for you guys. If nobody else has any questions, I will let y'all go and you can get back to your evenings. And I'm excited to do your check-ins this week. And if you need anything at all, again, just of course, reach out. We are always here for you guys. And thanks for being here tonight on live. I really appreciate it. And I'll plan on checking in with you guys later this week. Have a good rest of your night. Bye.